Lights out and let's go racing, folks, and it's a very even start from the entire field.
There's a freight train forming behind him right now. He will be as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I can give you the hot tip. Sideways as a bishop on a chessboard. That was incredible car control.
Oh no, and he's sent it! And he's gone down the inside, and that's a brilliant move.
Going for a bit of an ambitious dive now, and oh, there's contact! Here they come now, around the final turn on the final lap, they're side by side!
Oh, there's contact there. Someone is going to be hitting the showers early tonight, I'll tell you what.
Crosses the line for P1. Brilliant racing, absolutely sensational stuff.
This is heart pounding. This is nerves rising. This is sensational TV.
From the freezing cold plains of Tasmania to now the scorching sun up in the top end. It's a polar opposites for the drivers this week as they tackle Hidden Valley Raceway and the variety of corners and challenges it throws to the drivers this time around for the MSR Championship here in Gen 3 cars. And to now lap around here, it is going to be throttle pinned to the firewall for the 500 meter run to turn one. Very easy to run in deep as it's a longer radius corner, but with the high speeds of 270 kilometers an hour down the main straight, it adds to the challenge. Not a lot of room on corner exit for the run through turns 2, 3 and 4 before opening and overtaking opportunity into turn 5. Tightest corner of the circuit's up next from turn 6. Momentum is key though through turns 7, 8 and 9 before the downhill run through turns 10 all the way through to the final corner of 14 for the drag race to the main straight finish line, which is 1.1 kilometers long. There is a lot of racing to come up, but first we need to go qualifying mode, and it's going to be all live here on Sensational TV. So let's find out who will be your race winners of tonight for round 6 of the MSR Championship here on Assetto Corsa. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It has been some time since round 5 of Simmons Plains, but we are back here for another round of the MSR Gen 3 Supercars Championship brought to you by ANMAX Services, and it is going to be a thrilling night of racing, and it is absolutely on through the times here as well. You can see Zach O'Reilly is currently fastest here in the practice session, but that's fastest in practice. We have got some very quick operators that are also looking to try and knock that time down here in qualifying conditions as we get ready very shortly for that to take place. And let's take a quick look at the championship standings as we get ready for this one here. So we're here with Jason McFadden leading the way on 1,080 points, but look how close it is at the top between your top 3. It's McFadden, Hanley, and Crowther separated by only 25 points. Now it's Adam Betts, Kelly, Johnson, Kurtz, Cook, North, and Cosmarakis. He sneaks himself now inside of the top 10 here in the championship standings, and it is just so close between the mid-pack as well. And then just outside is Andre Elliott. He's only 3 points getting himself inside that top 10. Lachlan Grunt, Richard King, Zach O'Reilly, after missing a few rounds, drops to position number 14, and then Hayden Wallace rounds out your top 15 here. And then in part number 2 of the standings here, it's Alan Poole, Clayton Waters, Stephen Harrison, Luke McCulloch, Cooper Shipley, Basil Webb in 21st position, Joe Roworth as well, right there in the mix of things on 212 points. Liam Hanley, Liam Thompson, Wesley Harriott, Sam Isaac, Bailey Doble in 27th position, Josh Wysack, the fellow Wysack that is in 28th position. Ethan Anderson and Jet Murray rounds out the championship standings in 30th position. So there has been plenty of racing so far in this series, and it is coming down to the absolute wire. And we've still got a fair bit of racing as well to come up. We've got Townsville Motor Mall Raceway as well as we take a look here at the calendar for the rest of this season. You can see that the ones that we have marked as completed are Sydney Motorsport Park, Albert Park, Ruapuna, and Simmons Plains, which was last time out. We're here at Hidden Valley Raceway with Townsville up next. Motor Mall Raceway, Queensland, The Bend, and Bathurst for Enduros, which is going to be absolutely insane. Surfers Paradise, Sandown Raceway, and to round out the season, on December 4th. Mark your calendars, because it's going to be the Adelaide Street Circuit, and expect there to be ding-dong battles up and down the field. But we're just about done here in the practice session, and it is going to be a balls to the wall stuff in qualifying. They got 20 minutes to try and lay down a lap time here, and you may have seen with the way that this weekend's going to be set up, you're going to have 2 races tonight, both 30 lappers. So there's going to be a bit of strategy involved in this one, and it is going to be both of them with a compulsory pit stop as well for good measure, and they must use both the tyre compounds as well. But in the second race, it's going to be a reverse top 12. So those people that were out in front in the first race are going to have their work cut out for them. They'll have to go into the second race already off the 8 ball and having to work their way through the field, and the pit window is from lap 1 to 25. And so that is a wide open door for strategy here. So it is going to be a very entertaining qualifying session coming up very shortly. Most drivers have pulled it now to the pit lane, but here's Bill Kozimarakis. He was mentioned here in the championship standings because he had a very good last round out at Symmons Plains Raceway and found himself now inside of the top 10 of your championship standings. So he's on the move. He was very quick at the season opener at Sydney Motorsport Park, and then he kind of fell off the 8 ball just a little bit in the last few rounds, but has now found that form back and is very nicely and currently sitting 4th position here in practice, and not too far off the pace as well. It's only 7/10 of a second he is away from Zach O'Reilly, a fastest here in the practice session so far. And look how close the times are as well. There's really not too much separating this field around this place as well. So let's keep an eye out on this. We're going to go to a quick ad break here as we get ready to go qualifying.
Motto is that safe drivers are lifesavers. If your organisation shares this belief and are planning to improve driver education in your community, SDT Simulator Driver Training has the solution. Many of our simulator users are also gaining a revenue stream by taking their simulators to events and schools for driver education programs. The system can also be set up to run motorsport simulation. Many leading racing drivers are now using simulators to improve their skills. Such software can also be used to show drivers they are not as skilled as they think they are. SDT Simulator Driver Training is a division of Safe Drive Training, one of Asia Pacific's leading driver training providers. We offer affordable driving simulators that are assembled in our Brisbane head office. SDT simulators are now in use across Australia and are expanding into international markets due to their affordable price, unique features, and customization for driver training. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Contact Simulator Driver Training for more information.
Ah, yes, welcome back. We're here once again at Hidden Valley Raceway, and it is go time here in qualifying, and it is going to be a fantastic session, if I do say so myself. We're currently at Hidden Valley Raceway, just about 10 kilometers away from the Darwin CBD, so we're right in the midst of the Northern Territory at the moment here for the series, and we are being kicked from the service, so looks like we're having issues once again with the service, so we will be back once again after another quick word from our sponsors.
Motorsport isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And when performance matters, you need gear you can trust. That's where ARD Importing comes in. ARD Importing brings world-class racing brands straight to New Zealand, supplying real racers, real teams, and real enthusiasts with proven performance products around the globe. We're talking JRP racing components, ZAMP helmets, and safety gear you can rely on the track, Red Cat Racing for high-performance RC action, and intimate brake pads for serious stopping power when it counts most. Keep your engine protected with renewable lubricants, premium oils designed for extreme performance and durability. Turn up the volume with wicked audio, delivering powerful sound whenever the road or track takes you. And gear up with Spartan products built for durability, comfort, and race day durability. Whether you're racing dirt, asphalt, or chasing lap times from home, ARD Importing has you covered. Sim racers as well, listen up, ladies and gentlemen, because ARD New Zealand is your importing source for all of Camus Racing sim gear. Precision wheels, professional grade pedals, immersive feedback that puts you right in the driver's seat. Train harder, race smarter, and feel every corner. From real-world racing to the virtual grid, ardimporting.co.New Zealand connects you with elite brands trusted by racers worldwide.
Alrighty, and we are back. We've had a server reset and the joys of sim racing just sometimes, but we are green once again here for qualifying at the top end. So let's ride on board, shall we, with Lee Crowther. He's one of your drivers and currently sitting inside the top 3 of the championship, so he's going to be a very quick operator and was right there as well in the practice session. So let's see how a wheelman goes about this fantastic circuit located in the top end of Australia, and just like he does in every other series, he is thrashing this thing around the circuit to get all the lap time available to himself as he heads out of turn number 5 up into the tightest corner, which is turn number 6. And now this is the part where I said it's all about momentum. Momentum is going to be key because you can't lose a lot of time through here, because then you'll lose touch. You're heading down to that giant 1.1 kilometer main straight, and you can see how bumpy it is for these drivers to navigate it, and this looks much tighter than what it actually is, so you can't get too caught up in trying to get down in there, and that is a possible overtaking opportunity there at the final corner of turn 14. but you have to be wary of how narrow it is on the exit there, because the pit entry is right there as well, as he now lays down the first lap time of a 103.6, which immediately gets eclipsed though by Connor Mitchell. So Connor Mitchell in the Toyota Supra goes fastest with a 103.5, and that is a very handsome lap time. In practice, the fastest was a 1 minute 3 flat, which was set by this driver right here, Zach O'Reilly, currently sitting just outside of the top 10 in the driver standings. How does he fare going across the start finish line? He's got a few purple micro sectors. This looks like it could be a decent lap time here. It's purple in the final sector. That time around though, it must have had a mistake or as another outlap for himself, because it was only a 1 minute 30 for himself. So let's see how he goes about it. This will be another flying opportunity here for himself, and you can see a couple of drivers in the background really struggling with getting the throttle down in this series. It's definitely very difficult to try and get the throttle planted down. These cars have a lot of power, and they've got roughly about 600 horsepower, and they weigh 1.3 tons. So there is a fair bit of weight and a fair bit of power to these cars, but it's a green first sector here for Zach O'Reilly in the Zach-accelerated driver training car in the Camaro, which absolutely looks beautiful as well for good measure. Currently sits in position number 10, as Hayden Cook now throws himself up into position number 5, and he is currently sitting in 8th in the championship, so he's looking pretty handsome in this series as well. It's a purple middle sector though for Zach O'Reilly to the start finish line, and he goes to the top with a 103.5. How can anyone else go about this? And another thing we need to take note here of, ladies and gentlemen, Jason McFadden, your championship leader, currently is not in the server, so it looks like he may be missing this one, as there's a car stationary at the moment, and it looks like that is Jacob Kelly in the Red Bull car, and he's also running, since we're in the top end, bit of a special Indigenous livery for himself there. So he's had a moment on the exit of turn number 1, and unfortunate for him, currently sitting in position number 7 in this qualifying session with 15 minutes left to run of this one. Second position in the championship is currently Dean Hanley, who is sitting in 13th position, is yet to lay down a proper lap time in his Camaro as well. So he's currently in, about to finish the first sector. How does this look for himself as he goes on through? There's no real improvement in the first sector as he heads through turn number 6. So he's going to be wanting to lay down a bit of a belter lap time here and get himself further up the standings, as now Zach O'Reilly improves his lap time once again, goes to a 1 minute 3 flat for himself. So he's really pulling in the pace at the moment on those super soft tires here tonight. And speaking of tires, there's going to be a lot of strategy game in the 2 races coming up, both 30 laps long with a compulsory pit stop, and they both have to use both of the tyre compounds available, which is the super soft and the soft compound tyres. How does Dean Hanley's lap goes? It puts him up to position number 12. It's a 1 minute 4.8. So your driver second in the championship will be wanting to improve on that, and you can see how narrow of a racing line he's currently taking to really open up the corner to allow him to go for that double apex and get the corner in, as Andre Elliott has had a bit of an issue here at the final corner. So it looks like he may have touched the grass there at turn 13, and oh, who was that? Another driver has just followed through, and it nearly went off at the same time, and so that got also close, and could have been absolutely disastrous here in this qualifying session. In the background, I could see Zach O'Reilly come through for another flying lap here, but it looks like he may have been held up there at the final corner. He lost 0.3 of a second in that final sector. But how can Connor Mitchell go? Because at the time of going live in the practice session, he was the fastest driver, so he's got plenty of pace in this GR Supra, and we'll be looking to try and find that 0.2 of a second that he needs to better Zach O'Reilly's time of a 1 minute 3.084. So there is very fine margins, as now Dean Hanley puts in a bit of a better lap and catapults himself from position number 12 up to position number 6 here. So pretty much halving his position, which is a fantastic effort, and you can see the car getting all out sideways, trying to go through turn number 1 as quickly as possible for Dean Hanley here, and position number 6 is his for now with a 1 minute 3.9, so he's got 0.9 of a second to find. But if he can just improve by 0.2 of a second on this lap, and it looks like he's just gone for a spin and immediately thrown it to the pits. So That lap has not gone well for himself, as now Luke McCulloch in the Dare Iced Coffee GR Supra has had an issue here, and this is at turn number 5, so he's had a bit of a mare going through there. That curbing on the exit can absolutely trip up drivers here, and so keep a keen eye on that for drivers getting it all out sideways here in this series, because these cars have got plenty of grip when you need it, but at the same time, right when you need that grip, it just magically disappears, and expect the tire fall off in grip as well to be diabolical. We saw that at Simmons Plains Raceway just last time out, as Jacob Kelly's had another issue here. This time it looks like it's in between turn 6 and turn number 7, so he's had an issue there for himself, and he was about to get into the way of Andre Elliott. And so let's keep a look here at Elliott's lap time, because he is also trying to claw his way back through into the championship fight. He's had a couple of rough weekends. He was battling really hard with McFadden actually in Simmons Plains, and we saw that go south in the first race with McFadden off the road. So for Andre Elliott, how does this lap go for himself? It's a green first sector, so there could be an improvement here. There is a improvement. It puts him now up into position number 7, only 0.04 of a second away from eclipsing Dean Hanley's lap time there as well for himself, as he runs it deep into the first corner. And Lachlan Grant's now off the road as well in that final sector, where momentum is keen before making the run down the hill onto the main straight. So the retro livery Camaro is further down into the grass, hopefully not setting any grass fires up here in the dry top end, and trying to really clear off the tires. And in the background, the driver getting it all out sideways, trying to find that lap time. But Lachlan Grant currently sitting in position number 10 for this qualifying session, so not too bad of a position for himself. A little bit of damage on the front end though, so it looks like he may have possibly found the wall or another driver at some stage so far this session. But provisional pole sitter halfway through the session is Zach O'Reilly in the Zach Accelerated Camaro, and looking to keep trying to improve. He's currently sitting just about where he was in practice with that 1:03 flat. And if we think back to what these drivers can do in real life, the qualifying lap record around here for a Gen 3 supercar is Brody Kostecki from back in 2024 for Erebus Motorsport, put in a 1:05.7. So we're well and truly in the sim world beating what they'll do in real life. And for when we come to the races here, as the cars are off in the grass trying to get out the way here of Zach O'Reilly, the race lap record is Kai Allen for Grove Racing, and that was only last year. He set a 1:07.213, so the lap times will be absolutely tumbling here. And just take a look at the lap times that we do have here. We've got so many drivers so close together, and it will be fascinating to see how this one all plays out in amongst it all. And so it is going to be just very much a race to really keep an eye for, because this could make or break some people's championship runs here, and we're only about halfway through the series as to date. So expect plenty of talking points to come out of this one as Zach O'Reilly pulls it into the lane. But Connor Mitchell still has not been able to improve on his 1:03.2, and he's now got a little bit of traffic up ahead in the likes of Lachlan Grant. So this lap might be a bit of a throwaway, but if he's thinking of smartly enough, he might be able to use a bit of a slipstream effect here from the car in front, get himself a little bit of extra top-end speed, try and eclipse that 270 kph. So let's actually ride on board here and see what it's like for a lap around Hidden Valley Raceway aboard a GR Supra. Turn 1, everyone's really going for that double apex strategy. We see it in real life. It's a bit half and half, whether if you go for the double apex or you just hug that inside curb. Most of these drivers opting to go for the double apex, and that's exactly what he's done. Plenty of momentum through that section there, through sector number 1, and this is where he's probably now going to start getting held up through this sector here, where you just need to be able to flow the car, just let it ride and sit on top of the curbs, use the curb for a little bit of extra turning angle here, as the track sometimes falls away at you, and you can see all the bump, and this is really going to start hurting his lap time now with Lachlan Grant directly in front of him. He had a little bit of a decent gap starting the lap, but now that's just all gone away for himself. And the only benefit you might have here is a little bit of slipstream down this 1.1 kilometer front straightaway, where you can probably start having a bit of a sip of tea as well, just to keep hydrating yourself. And you're starting to cross the line here. It's a 1:03.7, so you can see that first microsector was purple with the slipstream, and unfortunately the rest of the lap just kind of fell away with the car in front of him. So it looks like this one will have to be a throwaway as well for Connor Mitchell, as he gets really held up there by Lachlan Grant sitting directly in front. A couple of drivers though with only 7 minutes left of the session, really looking to try and get out on another fresh set of tyres. So your provisional pole sitter at the moment, Zach O'Reilly, with Lee Crowther sitting in position number 2. So he's a third in the championship. So this is going to be huge for him as well to start right at the front. We just were on board with Connor Mitchell, currently sitting in the 3rd position. Bill Kosmarakis in the 4th. And then Dion Clerk in the 5th position. So the Toyota Supras are coming alive here at Hidden Valley Raceway. And we saw a pretty good pace from him in real life as well, just from the race gone for the Supra. So Clerk in 5th position. Mason Kurtz is the driver that we saw not long ago out sideways, putting on a bit of a Formula Drift Expo here at Hidden Valley Raceway, and he currently lines up in position number 6 with 6 minutes left to go. Dean Hanley in 7th, so he's lost that 6th position that we were talking about as he was getting ready. He's now got Bill Kosmarakis right in front of him for good measure as he warms up the tyres. Jonathan Mitchell in 8th position. Jacob Kelly in the Indigenous Red Bull Ampol Racing livery in 9th position. Andre Elliott, he's going to be crossing the line very shortly here to complete yet another lap here in this qualifying session. He's currently sitting in position number 10. It's a green final sector, but unfortunately no improvement on the lap time for himself. So it's going to be, he's going to need to find a bit more if he wants to catapult himself further up the field. But Zach O'Reilly here will be starting his first flying lap since they're coming out of the lane and putting on a fresh set of super soft tyres, and that's not going to help his lap time at all with the R&J Batteries car out wide in the grass at turn number 1. As now Dion Clerk's had a bit of a moment here, and he's off into the grass for the Super. And where is he currently sitting? That looks like to be the runoff there of turn number 1. So he's gone in a bit too deep at the first corner and thrown away the lap time as soon as it has started. So very unfortunate there for Dion, but for Zach O'Reilly, he's now got a couple of cars in front of him that he's going to have to deal with for a bit of traffic. Hopefully it won't come into effect and gets out the way very nicely, but it does set him just slightly wide there, and you can see there in the micro sectors, not really improving a huge amount on this lap. So maybe the double warm-up lap strategy is going to have to pop up in and come into effect here, which is something you don't necessarily think about considering this place year-round has an average temperature of about 33 degrees. So definitely something that we're not too used to seeing here. Is he sets a 1 minute 3.333, so he's not too far off the pace, about 0.3 of a second, and he's not going to be liking this. He's seeing that R&J Batteries car once again at turn number 1, and this time it's really thrown him off. Look how wide. He was just about off the road there at turn number 1. As for Lee Crowther, he's going to be crossing the line as well to finish another lap here on a fresh set of super soft compound tyres, and there was a purple first sector, micro sector, sorry. So that could have been helped there with a little bit of slipstream and a bit of extra top end speed, and immediately as we go to watch a lap here, throws it off the road at the first corner. So that was that lap done and dusted. So he pulls it back to the pit lane to get a refresh on those tyres as well. Connor Mitchell in 3rd position, a very quick operator at the moment, and with Lee Crowther up into 2nd position. That means that your top, let's make it your top 4, currently separated by 0.3 of a second, which is stupidly close margins here in this qualifying session around this 2.8 kilometer circuit, and it is going to be a very intense final 4 minutes of this session for all of these drivers. You can see there on the totem pole, just about every single driver is out on the circuit, apart for McCulloch and Harriet, who have not yet left the lane for a final run here, probably thinking about leaving it to the absolute very last second here. And for Connor Mitchell, he's in the last few corners of this flying lap here. It's all grey in the micro sectors, so that he hasn't been able to find too much improvement on this lap. What is the lap time going to be as he crosses the start-finish line here, heading down to turn number 1, and there is no improvement. That one was a fair bit off, and it looks like he's going to throw away this lap as well to let another car go on through. So for Connor Mitchell, we're going to have to wait a while to see if he can't improve on himself. For Zach O'Reilly, he's about to finish another flying lap here for himself, coming around the final corner. What is this lap time going to be? And up down the main straight, all he's going to be seeing now is all that traffic directly in front of him as more cars start to leave the pit lane here to try and go out for final flying laps here. And it looks like not many people have been able to improve, as Dean Handley's currently off the road at the first corner, and that looks like Jacob Kelly as well off the road at the first corner. So watch out for turn number 1, ladies and gentlemen, later on tonight as we get ready to go racing in a few short moments' time. It looks like turn number 1 is going to be a tricky one as well. That was Mason Kurtz. He's gone for a spin here at turn number 5. That curbing on the exit there has caught him, and it looks like it's just caught out another driver as well for good measure. And that was Heath Langley that has been caught out as well. So 2 drivers currently facing backwards at turn number 5. So keep an eye out on a few of these key corners. Turn 1. Turn 5 will add to that as well for drivers getting caught up in the midst of things, and that will be a huge talking point when we go racing. And it's all going to be about these going to be overtaking opportunities, because turn 1 is generally where you would want to get it done, and if you're not going to be able to get the car stopped, it is going to be very difficult to make that one stick, as Zach O'Reilly has made it stick. He now betters his current provisional pole position lap time and goes to a 1 minute 3.019, so he's bettered that by a little bit of a margin there, about 700ths of a second he's bettered that by. But a improvement is a improvement, and that's all that's going to be in the mind for Zach O'Reilly. He's not too far away here from breaking into the 1 minute 2s, which would be some feat. He now goes purple in the first sector, so Zach O'Reilly is on for an absolute flyer, but he's got Dean Handley directly in front of him. So the 2 accelerated driver training cars nose to tail at the moment. He's going to be hoping that Dean Handley will get out of the way, and that's exactly what he does, to extreme measures, going off into the grass to make sure that he was never going to get hindered by that performance there. And he's got green middle sector as well. Could we see a 1 minute 2 here, ladies and gentlemen, from Zach O'Reilly? He has found some pace in the death of this qualifying session with only 60 seconds left to go. Hugs the pit wall, and there we go. It's not just a 1 minute 2, it's a 1 minute 2.875. So he has annihilated that final lap time for himself, pulls it to the pit lane. I'm sure he's very happy with that lap time, and has now got 3/10 clear over this man, Lee Crowther, in this qualifying session. So for Crowther, he's going to be trying to get at least one more lap out if he can make it to the start finish line in time. He's got 35 seconds to do it, but he's not going to be able to make it if he's going to make mistakes like that at the exit of turn 5, another critical corner, and getting the car all out sideways. We saw the wheel work on the front steering wheels, and look how sideways he's going. He's gone for a spin now as well, and he's going to find the fence, put a bit of damage on, and that's his qualifying session done. Connor Mitchell's also in the pit lane, so your top 3 seems to be pretty sealed and delivered at the moment. Unless this driver here, Bill Kozomarakis, we saw at Sydney Motorsport Park, he was rapid. He was right there in the midst of things in the qualifying, in the practice sections. Unfortunately for the races, it just kind of fell away from him a little bit there. He only has to find 1/10 if he wants to get himself into that 3rd position, take it away from Mitchell. Can he be able to do that? He's got a green micro sector, but for sector 1 and so far for sector number 2, it's not showing too much improvement. And there we go, he's out sideways, and that's going to be that lap done for himself, as now the chicken flag has fallen in the session. Lachlan Grant in a position number 5 on a 1 minute 3.502 is also not too far away from being able to improve his position. Only 2/10 of a second will get himself onto the 2nd row of the grid, which will be a much more pleasant starting position than where he currently sits on the 3rd row of the grid. It's a green first sector, so there is improvement so far in this lap time. He's on the super soft tyres. The cars are looking nice and handsome, going through down the hill, and it's another green sector, so we should be on for an improvement. Is it going to be that 2/10 of a second that he needs? And he's thrown it away at the final corner, so we won't be able to know if there was a improvement for that one. And that is going to be the qualifying session done here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be Zach O'Reilly on the pole position here in the Zach Sellers driver training Camaro. Wow, what a lap, a 1 minute 2.875 to get himself on pole position by a huge 3/10 of a second. So, with that all done and dusted, we've got ourselves a grid order here, ladies and gents. So, sit back and relax, and we'll be back very shortly to go racing here at Hidden Valley.
Forms and expertise in getting the best gear. Sensational TV has proudly partnered up with Speed Nation. It is New Zealand's go-to destination for high-performance sim gear. They also stock the best and biggest brands in the game, from Thrustmaster, Moser Racing, Next Level Racing, Sparko, Turtle Beach, and more. And whether you're looking for the ultra-responsive racing wheels or pro-grade flight controls, immersive audio, or rock-solid cockpits, I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has got it all. They also carry other trusted names like Butt Kicker, PT actuators, wheel stand pros, Gen Ace, Spectrum in the remote control field, and also Collective Mind. So every step and part of your setup is covered, from complete racing rigs and premium flight packs. We here at Sensational TV, back in Speed Nation, to deliver the gear that takes your experience to the next level. Fast shipping, trusted brands, unbeatable quality, and I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has it all. And as an excellent gift for all of our viewers tonight and members out there of Sensational TV, and if you're trying to get into racing, go to the checkout, buy some stuff off Speed Nation, because if you buy any full price product on the website, enter the code SIMSATIONAL, that is SIMSATIONAL. Oh my God, I can't even speak. And you will get a 10% discount off your end cart price. So go in there.
10%? 10% did you say, Zachary?
I did say 10%,
Oh,
mate. I did not say
goodness.
5. I did not say 4. I said 10.
Wow.
Yes, welcome back. What a qualifying session we just had, and to top it all off now, we have got 30 laps to come here for this first race tonight here at Hidden Valley Raceway in the top end of Australia. And Zach O'Reilly on the pole position with that brilliant lap to put himself into the 1 minute 2s and 3/10 clear of anybody else. And he is joined by a very good friend in Lee Crowther on the front row of the grid. You'll have Connor Mitchell lining up on the third row with Bill Kosmarakis alongside, so the Toyota gets themselves up into third position. Lachlan Grant and Dion Clerk on the next one, so it's another Toyota there as well, so we're finally seeing a few of them towards the front. Then it's Mason Kurtz, Dean Hanley in a position number 8, Andre Elliott and Mitchell to round out your top 10 here for race number 1. Sean North in position 11, Jacob Kelly in 12th, Heath Langley in 13th position, Hayden Cook in 14th, Dean Johnson in 15th, and then the one driver who's actually found themselves in the limelight here so far in the lead up to this round, Bailey Doble, getting into the eyes of Brock Feeney on the social media world, and so look for him to try and improve on his starting position. McCulloch in 17th position, Harriet in 18th, and Hall to round out your 19 drivers here racing tonight for round 6 of the MSR Gen 3 Supercars Championship, brought to you by NMAX Services. So it is going to be a thrilling race, 30 laps, compulsory pit stop, and they must use both compounds of tyres. So expect the unexpected, expect door banging, expect everything to be in amongst this race. It has been a thrilling season so far to date, and we're only into round number 6 so far of this one. We've got plenty of racing still to come. We haven't even reached enduro part of the season, but expect the drivers to get tested to the very limits here today, because they're going to have plenty of a break down the 1.1 kilometer main straight, but also look just on that track map, just look at how complex it gets as well towards the end of the first sector, into the final sector as well. These drivers will be holding onto their steering wheels as tightly as possible. The sweaty palms will be out, and I'm sure the sweat will be dripping as well. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some action-packed racing coming up for 30 laps of it as well. So once we get started, we'll also be able to see what tyre compounds they're all going for here, as we're not too far away from the race start here for race number 1. And once again, it's Zach O'Reilly off the pole position here for this first one, with that 1 minute 2 absolutely annihilating the field in qualifying. And when he's been on form for O'Reilly, he has been on form. He has thrown the car where it needs to be, and so far into this season, he got the pole position at Sydney Motorsport Park, the race 1 win, pole position at Albert Park, and pole position and the race 1 win at Simmons Plains. But the lights are now getting ready to go. We're getting some revs. It's starting to go up, so we're only seconds away from getting this underway. And so it is now 5 red lights, and we are racing here at Hidden Valley Raceway. And look at the race start that Lee Crowther has just had. He has annihilated it off the racing line, and look at him throw the thing all the way down into turn number 1. He has gapped them heading on through, and let's see how well this one goes here for the drivers going through turn number 1. So far it's all clean. 2, 3 wide so far as they head on through turn number 1, but back to the front here, he's got 0.2 of a second, and Zach O'Reilly's not going to be too happy with that. And look at that, your top 5 all starting on the super soft tires, and so it is going to be on between the lot of them. And in the background here, it looks like Mika Hall has had quite the start, and for Bailey Doble here, he is off the road at turn number 5 and lost a position through all of that as well. Now tags the car in front of him of Dean Johnson, and he's going to try and go for a little bit of the bump and run here, but he's going to have to readdress that and make sure that he doesn't take that away, because that was a clear bump to the rear of that vehicle and further up the field as well. Through this complex section of corners, they're trying to go 2x2 still through all of this, and it's just not going to work sometimes around here. Heath Langley though is able to make the position here, but look at this, because here comes Mitchell in the sister car as well, looking to try and get that position away from Heath Langley. But Lee Crowther sets the fastest lap time of the race, crossing the start finish line. But here we go, Zach O'Reilly's had quite the run out of the final corner and goes to the inside here at turn number 1 to take the race lead away from Lee Crowther, and he is going to take that one, and that is a demanding overtake there, and just shows who is boss here in this race so far. Your pole position winner is now back to the lead of this one, and look at the queue of cars right in behind with Lee Crowther leading the way. Connor Mitchell is right there, and so is Lachlan Grant, and Bill Kosmarakis is not too far away from that one as well, and they're 3 wide in the background going up into turn number 6, and so there has been issues all above, and that for Andre Elliott, he's been shafted out wide, and he has lost the position there to Sean North. So that has not gone well there for the Simblacks driver, and the other Simblacks driver there of Hayden Cooks has just been pushed out wide as well. So it is getting very argy-bargy up and down this field, and they're all fighting for any bit of track position that they can get. And off the road goes Langley. He's going to rejoin still side by side there with Hayden Cook, and will relinquish that position, drops it into position number 14. And what a complex of corners that was. Zach O'Reilly, now he's got the clean air in front of him, sets the fastest lap of the race as the battling down the main straight is continuing with Jacob Kelly now trying to go side by side here with Mason Kurtz in the flip side Mustang, and it's going to be the battle of the energy drinks really as they go side by side now on the run down to turn number 5. A little bit of a tap there between the two of them, but it's going to be Jacob Kelly who gets the position ahead of Mason Kurtz, and so he's going to go up to number 8 here for Kelly, and that is a very good overtake there for himself. Mason Kurtz will have to relinquish that position and just hold on to number 9 for as long as he can. And more drummers here down the back, and that's going to open up the door there for Doble to get himself a position up into 13th, and so he's made his way further up through the field from the start of this one. But for Langley, he's just falling through the field, and now he's got McCulloch right up the rear end as well in his Dare Ice Coffee GR Supra, and so keep an eye on that one for a position change. And not too far away there is Zach O'Reilly continues to set the pace here. He's already into the low 1 minute 3s, so he is on rapid pace. And for Jacob Kelly, he's already to the back of Dion Clerk here. So Kelly is looking very racing. Is in the background. Andre Elliott is looking for the position down the inside there of Sean North into the North Star Transport. And who's that off the road? It's Connor Mitchell. Connor Mitchell from your top 5 has gone off the road at turn number 1 and lost a ton of positions, and now finds himself in position number 12. So starting from from the second row of the grid now finds himself down outside of the top 10. It has not been a first race to hope for so far for that one. Is now Andre Elliott's had a huge moment and he's gone down deep at turn number 6. We caught the back end of that. He was all backwards and we thought he was trying to be making a position there because he was starting to go all over the back there of Sean North and get himself further up inside your top 10. Unfortunately for himself, now finds himself down outside that top 10 bracket into 12th position for himself. So he's going to have to work a little bit more now to try and get those positions back for himself. And you can see the battling absolutely continuing for Jacob Kelly. He's using that strip shunter grid effect. Does he go lay on the brakes and try and send it down the inside? Dion Clerk, he does cover, but he doesn't cover enough because here comes the Camaro, the Red Bull Camaro of Jacob Kelly. He tries to go for the move down the inside. He gets it all sideways on the exit and he just isn't able to get it, as now Mitchell's had another issue here and he goes down to 11th position. He's going to lose another one here to Andre Elliott as he tries to get himself back onto the circuit, but he's got to be careful because he's going to be rejoining back onto the racing line. And so for himself, he now falls all the way down to position number 14. And so far, as we were talking about in the qualifying session, turn number 1 has been quite the corner to catch the drivers out. It's so deceiving with how wide and fast flowing it looks to be, but you can just see there on your track map, it is anything but. It is so tight down there. You need to get the car stopped big time from about 270 kilometers an hour at peak speed down the main straight. So that is going to be a huge thing to keep an eye on in this race. And for Jacob Kelly, he wasn't able to get the move done last time around. This time he's not as close as he probably would like, so he's going to have to not go for the dive this time around. And think about what happened last lap. Last lap, Clerk half closed the door. He kind of went a little bit defensive, but still left plenty of space for a move down the inside. And Kelly used that invitation. That's a great effect and got himself close enough to be able to make that lunge. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite work out for himself, and now he's had to work his way back to the rear end of Dion Clerk, and he's done exactly that as he looks to the outside, just trying to fill up the mirrors wherever he can there to get himself that position away from the Super, as Connor Mitchell's now making his way back through the field. So he was outside the top 10 last time we checked, now finds himself up into 8th, so he's carving his way through this field quickly. A little bit of red mist probably descended as well from that one, as now Zach O'Reilly, what pace is this man on? 103.1. He is not too far away from his pole position lap time. He's only about 0.3 of a second away from it, but for Kelly, he is also about 0.3 of a second away from the back of Dion Clerk, and that's not going to be close enough again. So he needs to focus on that final corner there to try and get the run he needs down this huge long straight front straightaway here at Darwin Raceway. So the front straightaway, it's so long because you can see there in the background of the shot there is a drag strip that runs alongside of it, and for the runoff at turn 1, that's also used as a little bit of a slowdown section for that drag strip. So it's a multi-purpose motorsport complex, this one. There's the dirt speedway and the motocross track and the go-karting complex as well, just outside of these track limits. So plenty of action to be found here at Hidden Valley Raceway, and it's tonight. It is your Gen 3 Supercars. Now Hayden Cook is off the road on the exit of turn number 6, and so he's going to be trying to get himself back onto the circuit, but the grass slides off so much that you can see the angle that the grass is on, and so it's pretty difficult sometimes to get the car back onto the circuit, especially when you're on the slick compound tires and have plenty of horsepower and plenty of grunt in the car. And that is exactly what these things have, 600 horsepower to be exact for that one. So sometimes a bit difficult to get the car where you need it to be. And for Jacob Kelly, he's still having a bit of issues there as Connor Mitchell's gone off again. And so he's lost it at turn number 1. Sean North has nearly collected him here, and he rejoins the circuit into the side of Andre Elliott. So is Elliott going to be able to get the both of them? He does get the both of them. And Connor Mitchell there on the exit lights up the rear tyres and gets a bit of tyre smoke going as well for good measure. So he is not happy at all behind the wheel of his Super at the moment, and he's still trying to fight his way through the field. He gets the move done on Sean North, but North is going to throw it back down the inside here at turn number 6, the hairpin of this circuit, and try and run side by side as long as he can. But the pace of Connor Mitchell is just going to be too much for himself, and he will take that 10th position away. But he's going to be so angry with himself for that one. That looked like to be just a bit of an error there of lock in the rears. We only saw it in the bottom of a shot, but it looked like it was just a real lock, a moment for himself, and he's going to be seething at the thought that he just done that. But for Jacob Kelly, this is much closer and possibly a move here at turn number 1. He looks to the inside. Clerk doesn't cover at all, and here comes with a great rate of speed. Jacob Kelly, it's too much for him to handle. He brakes way too late. He goes off into the grass, and he's going to loop it, trying to get back onto the circuit as well for good measure. So he's not going to lose just the one position. He's going to lose quite a few, and unfortunately, there's a little bit of a awkward spot to rejoin as well, because now he's just lost another heap of position. So from trying to get the move onto 6th position, now finds himself down to 13th, and for Connor Mitchell, that's a free kick for himself, because that's another position in his recovery drive that's done and dusted for himself up into 9th. But that all started with him trying to go for the move for Dion Clerk, and that is going to be something to keep an eye on here. But Dean Handley has been working very slowly at trying to catch up to your top 4 here, and he's been able to do that. He's now caught up to the back here of Bill Kosmarakis, and look at the slipstream games now being played down the front straightaway. Kosmarakis looking to try and break the toe effect here, going down this huge long straightaway, and he's just not able to do it. Dean Handley, a very wise operator behind the wheel in the sim and in real life, and he is trying to catch to the back here of Bill Kosmarakis, and he is trying to just catch the back of that Shell Mustang. Kosmarakis is actually a little bit offline there. We saw him get a little bit onto the curb there, threw the car out wide, and he's lost a ton of time now to Dean Handley. As now Sean North has had an issue here, and he's falling down the order, and he's another turn 1 incident here. So he's backwards on the exit there of turn 1. He was in amongst that big battle pack of trying to get inside the top 10, and for himself, it just has not gone to work. As now Lachlan Grant's had a huge moment. So your driver sitting in 3rd position is now facing backwards going into the final complex of corners, and look at the damage on the front of that car. He's had a huge moment. We caught him starting to go backwards and down the hill here at Hidden Valley Raceway, and look at the state of the front end of his Mobile 1 Camaro. And that thing has had a huge impact, and he's still trying to get the thing gathered back up, and it's just not going to work, and he's going to actually come in for a pit stop here, and I wonder if he'll also use this for his compulsory pit stop. So this will be interesting to see how this one goes, because it's going to be the first driver to come in for a pit stop here in this race. It's mainly going to be to fix that damage, but I'm sure he's going to be using this time as well to try and get himself a bit of a tyre change here, but a lot earlier than he probably would have liked, because we're only about a 3rd race distance so far, so probably earlier than we're expecting to see. We're seeing plenty of racing so far here in this one, and it is just a race of the ages so far. And for Dean Handley, that's exactly what he's thinking of at the moment. He's trying to catch to the back of Bill Kosmarakis, which he has done in the last few laps. It's only 0.3 of a second between the two, and he's really now going to get the effect of the slipstream, especially with the slow exit just then from Kosmarakis. He got onto the grass and broke it out into wheel spin, and look how quickly Handley is closing to the rear end of that Mustang. He pulls out wide. He's going to have to go the long way, because Kosmarakis does not let him go to the inside whatsoever. And look at the braking capabilities of Dean Handley there in his Camaro, and he's going to cut it back. Kosmarakis tries to put the nose back in it, but he now moves himself up into 3rd position, does Dean Handley, and now he's got 5 seconds to find, as now some more pit stops are starting to filter on through. Jacob Kelly's the next one to blink here tonight at Hidden Valley Raceway, and pulls it in from 10th position for his compulsory pit stop, and he is now, that was a very quick stop for himself, and so he's going to be wanting to see if he can't get a bit of an undercut going here. Is side by side they're going between Sean North and Lachlan Grant, that is, as well. So the damage not really fixed too much on Lachlan Grant's machine, but he's made the pit stop now onto the soft compound tyre. So we'll see how that tyre performs, but I don't think it's going to have too much handling capabilities at the moment with that front splitter on whatever angle that it's currently on. Is widely out of whack. And for McCulloch, he's also still on the back here of Hayden Cook. He's been kind of trying to get his way through this one and get himself further up the field from a little bit of a lower starting position than he probably would have liked. We've seen him really get up to the pointy end of the field in qualifying so far in this season. And he just wasn't able to click it here this weekend at Hidden Valley Raceway, and find himself currently in position number 12 in the Dare Ice Coffee GR Supra, and he's also going to be thinking about a way to get around these guys. And for Jacob Kelly, he's just made the pit stop, so the tyres are going to be a bit cold, and he now finds himself a lap down and backwards in the final second sector of the lap. So not gone really the way of himself, and we were talking for Luke McCulloch here, ways he can try and get by the cars directly in front of him, and he's going to be trying to go for the undercut here. in his pit strategy. So keep an eye on the pace here for McCulloch, because he's going to be one to watch to see if he can't jump the likes of Hayden Cook and Bailey Doble, who he was battling with not a short while ago. So he will exit the pit lane here just behind Lee Crowther, who currently sits in that second position. So he may have lost the position to Zach O'Reilly early on in the race on lap number 2, but he really hasn't fallen too far back. It may be 6 seconds, but all that takes is just going to be one mistake here. And we've seen plenty of them so far tonight, but Zach O'Reilly is one driver who won't make too many mistakes, and if he does, he will not make the same mistake twice. So that is going to be a really tough order for Lee Crowther to try and catch up and overtake O'Reilly if something like that was to occur. And for Andre Elliott, he's making his way back through the field once again, and is now up into position number 5. And for Dean Johnson, he's had a bit of an issue here as well in his Camaro, and he's currently off the road trying to figure out a way back onto the racing circuit without getting in the way of too many people there. And he will now also lose a lap to the leaders here, and he's yet to make a pit stop as well. So he's at a moment in the final sector there, but all of that is going to lead to an overtake here for Mason Kurtz to get himself around Harriet there in the Camaro. So the flip side Mustang up into position at number 14 as the field kind of starts getting a little bit jumbled up at this stage of the race, because some drivers have been coming in for their pit stops, others have not. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of a split strategy here with the tyres as well. We've got some on the super softs, some on the softs, and this is a good drag race show and tell as well for tyre life here. So Connor Mitchell on the soft compound tyres has really been putting him through a bit of torture as well. He's had a couple of spins and definitely lighting up the rears on a few moments, trying to make his way back through the field after losing out of a top 5 position here early on in this one. And he's showing that these soft compound tyres do have plenty of pace up against older super soft tyres for Sean North at the moment, as now Doble is into the pit lane. So where does Jacob Kelly come out, Luke McCulloch come out in regards to Doble, because that was one of the battles between the lot of them. As now, unfortunately for Mitchell, off the road again, and he'll lose that position. He only just got to Sean North, and he's going to lose that one down into 9th position. So that hasn't really gone to plan for himself. Here comes McCulloch, though, down the main straightaway. He was racing with Bailey Doble. Doble's just exiting the pit lane now in position at number 15. He's actually already made it down to turn number 1. So the undercut maybe not proving to be as quick as we may have thought from the practice sessions and from what I've been told from the drivers leading up to this event. So look for a lot of drivers to come in right towards the end, as Lachlan Grant really struggling to hold on to that machine, especially now with the front end damage on that one, getting it right out sideways, managing to catch it though. But do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Lachlan Grant is quite the wheelman in the sim racing world, as the car in front of him of Langley is just going for a spin as well. So that was a big rear end loss and going onto the main straightaway, and that's going to lose him not the one but quite a few positions, and now finds himself outside of the top 10 into position number 12. And with how long this straightaway is and the momentum that Mason Kurtz is going to have, he will take that one away from Langley as well. So Kurtz up to 12th, Langley now all the way down to 13th position. So it's been a horrid lap so far for himself, as a bit of a lock-up in front from Mason Kurtz manages to keep it on the road at turn number 1. But a driver we haven't really been speaking too much of as so far as Zach O'Reilly. That's just because he is creaming the field at the moment, 11 seconds in the lead for himself, and looking at currently lap Lachlan Grant right in front of him. So he's just in a world of his own is Zach O'Reilly, and the only thing that possibly could upset a race at the moment for himself is the pit stop cycle and how he fares with that. And he's currently on the super soft tyres, so he's dragging these out and quite some margin so far, really keeping him alive, but keeping the race pace electric. His last lap was only half a second away from his best lap of the entire race, which is a 1 minute 3.1. Super insane speed coming from the driver at the moment, leading the race. And Lachlan Grant's going to get out of the way for himself as he starts yet another lap. He's onto lap 18 of 30. This race has flown on by so quickly, and we've still got most of the field to come on in for their compulsory pit stop. And a compulsory pit stop does Bill Cosmaraka. So here's your first of your top 4 to come into the lane for their pit stop. So Zach O'Reilly, your race leader, is going to be seeing this and now know and kind of gets an idea of what the strategy is going to be like between all the other ones. Andre Elliott goes on by to take that 4th position now from Cosmarakis. as he stayed stationary in the pit lane for probably a little bit longer than he's expecting. We didn't see too many pit stops take this long for some of the other drivers as well. So let's keep an eye here to see how this one plays out. And for Connor Mitchell, it may just be yet another overtake that he can get here for himself up into 8th position and soon to be 7th if Kosmarakis can't get the thing moving. There he is. He's still stationary in the lane. So this is a super long pit stop for Kosmarakis and throwing away his a possible top 4 position for himself. And is he still stationary? He's still stationary in the lane. So this is a huge pit stop for Kosmarakis, and this is only just a free kick here for Dean Hanley. Kosmarakis is actually now going to be losing a lap here to your race leaders. That's how long of a pit stop he's going to have, and he's still stationary. So it looks like there's been dramatic issues here for Kosmarakis, and so one of your top 4 drivers is out of this one and out of contention at the moment. But for Dean Handley, he currently now sits on 3rd position and will very gladly know that the driver right behind him is gone out of the picture, and the next driver that he has to worry about that's behind him is Andre Elliott, 15 seconds away, but he can really focus on trying to catch Lee Crowther in front, who's only 4 seconds up the road. So at points around this circuit, he's going to be able to see the back of that Mustang and know that's the car that he has to take. But for Lee Crowther, I think the race win, bar something dramatic, is just about out of the picture now for himself. 12 seconds out away from Zach O'Reilly with only 10 laps left to run into the race, and he's still got to make a compulsory pit stop as well. So I'm expecting a lot of these drivers to come in super late into the lane on this one. So does Crowther come in this time around? No, he doesn't. He keeps going yet again for another lap. So it is a big strategy game at the moment between all of these drivers, some on the super soft, some on the soft. So keep an eye on this one, ladies and gentlemen, because it is going to be also fascinating on how these guys go about their strategy. And unfortunately for Kosmarakis, you can still see there on the totem pole and now on your screen, still stationary in the lane, and it is just a day ender, this one for himself. So we'll have to get to the bottom of this one and work out what's going on for himself. Dion Clerk now finds himself in the lane from position number 5. So will this one be a bit of a better pit stop? Because last time we were watching a stop, it didn't go too well for the likes of Kosmarakis. So you can still see stationary in the lane. And there we go. That's a bit better. That's what we expect for the pit stop times here at Hidden Valley Raceway. And Dion Clerk only loses the 2 positions. He might lose a 3rd here. He goes right out wide defensive to make sure that Connor Mitchell doesn't have an opportunity to try and hang it around the outside. He will still look to try and get it done. Will Mitchell and his 2 supers that are going at it here for position number 6 and number 5 is now your race leader of Zach O'Reilly is in the lane and already out of the lane as well while we were watching that battle, and Dean Hanley is also in the lane for himself, which means that Lee Crowther now inherits the race lead until he comes in for his pit stop, and hanging it out sideways is the Birdman. Look at him go on the drift. And how does the car behavior look for your race leader at the moment with cold tires? Expect there to be a lot of understeer in this thing and him being very cautious on the throttle pedal as well. Luckily, we've got the throttle chase to keep an eye on, as well as now Andre Elliott is also in the lane, and you can see that he's also super cautious there on the throttle blips as well, not to let the rear tires lock up. And just that throttle graphic was insane. And look how cautious he is on the throttle to not let it break out into the wheel spin. And this is one driver who is very calm and composed at the moment and really nursing these tyres in the first couple of laps to make sure he does not hurt them whatsoever in this race. And so he is absolutely on fire, is Zach O'Reilly. For Lee Crowther, he goes around yet another time, so he's holding onto this lead. He's only got 9 seconds though to O'Reilly, so he could lose the entire length of the pit stop here, and he could possibly lose it if he goes off the road like that at turn number 1. So one of the crucial corners coming into play once again. It was 9 seconds here between himself and O'Reilly as O'Reilly comes into the back of shots very soon, and there he goes. O'Reilly is now only 6 seconds away, so that has been a huge loss of time for Lee Crowther, and maybe he might just start be thinking, these tyres are starting to go away, I need to come into the pit lane pronto, and expect to see him in this lap. I will say he's probably going to be in at the end of this lap. And for Bailey Doble though, the battle between him and Sean North has not dissipated whatsoever. He is still cracking along with it, and I had previously spoken about his a little bit of a spotlight that he's had in the social media world for Bailey Doble. He put up a little bit of a TikTok video of his practice shenanigans leading up to this race, and was showing that bet the pole position time, as Lee Crafth's had a moment. He hasn't even made it to the pit lane, and now he comes into the pits, but he's already been eclipsed here by Zach O'Reilly. So with that in the thought process and how much time he's lost by trying to go a bit longer, does this open up the door here for Dean Hanley to try and get himself up into second? If he's not going to be able to make it to Lee Crowther, it's going to be also close between the two of them. Does Dean Hanley here get himself another position? Lee Crowther is still being classified in the pit lane, and there he is just leaving the pit lane now. So Hanley through the pit stop cycle also gets promoted up into second position. Lee Crowther might even lose a position to Andre Elliott. Actually, no, Andre Elliott's a little bit further back than what we initially thought. So Elliott will hold on to fourth position to Crowther, luckily, despite going wide and having a couple of moments on that lap. Holds on to a podium position, and there in the foreground you can see Bailey Doble, who we were talking about, put up a TikTok video of his practice, how he was going into practice in the weeks leading up to this event, and I got a bit of a notice there from one and only Brock Feeney from the Red Bull Ampol Racing team in the Repco Supercars Championship, and was given a little bit of a challenge from Brock Feeney about setting the fastest lap time on this simulator, and I don't know how the challenge ended up going, but we might have to try and see if we can't find out from the one and only Bailey Doble, who finds himself currently in position number 14 in his Red Bull Camaro with AGI Sport. So his race is ticking along a little bit nicely. He's up from where he qualified, which is always something positive, and something that's quite positive as well in this race that's happening at the moment. Is plenty of battles are currently happening up and down the field. You got the battle here with Hayden Cook and Mason Kurtz. There's a little bit of airspace between the two of them, but just the mental games that's going to be playing on with these guys, because the pace between the lot of them has not been too dissimilar at the moment. So Hayden Cook also finding himself in a bit of a not a vulnerable position, but definitely a challenging position of trying to apply the pressure in front of him for Mitchell, but knowing that he's got a Mustang right behind him and not too far from gathering a position if Hayden Cook was to make a mistake, as he runs it nice and deep into turn number 1, hugging the apex quite nicely as well. So there's one of the other racing lines that we were talking about in the qualifying session. Some drivers opting to go for the double apex, some are trying to go for just hugging the inside line, and hugging the inside line, this is what Jacob Kelly's going to have to do. And on cue, exactly what he does, sending it down the inside there of a wounded Lachlan Grant to get himself now up into position number 11. And for Grant, that car is not handling nicely at all. You can see him there getting onto the grass, onto the corner exit of turn number 1. So it's been quite the handful, has that Camaro for Grant, and he finds himself in position number 12, already 2 seconds away from Jacob Kelly, who's driving away from that one and is looking to try and get, as unfortunately for Grant, had a bit of another error here, and he found himself in the grass at the hairpin of turn number 6. So not gone well at all for himself, and the pressure is really cooking up here from Hayden Cook. He's reeled in the gap between himself and Mitchell, and is now less than a second. It's only half a second actually. Sorry, now between the lot of them. And I'm just on cue as well. Mason Kurtz right behind, also applying the pressure. And look at this brewing up between the two Camaros. It's Mitchell versus Cook, and for Hayden Cook, that has gone terribly for himself. He tried to swing out and get the position, but it's ended up with him in the fence and losing a position to Mason Kurtz, and he's got the race leader right behind him as well for good company, and that was not what you expect to see for Hayden Cook. He loses the rear end in the braking zone and noses it into the Armco barrier, and look at the front end damage onto that Simblax racing machine. It has not gone well for himself. He might just be able to hold on to a good position here if he's able to keep the car pointing in the right direction, because he's only got a couple of laps left to go. When there's Zach O'Reilly right behind him crosses the start-finish line, it's only going to be 4 laps left to go, as Lachlan Grant has thrown it into the pit lane once again here. And you'll enjoy Cosmarakis and Hall in the pit lane for this race so far. So not what we expect to see, and it's not usually something we usually see from Hayden Cook. And now look at Mason Kurtz. He's now taking that free position up into position number 8 to apply the pressure to the back of Mitchell. So he hasn't been able to shake the pressure off immediately at all. He's really Just seeing a car go spearing off in the background while he was trying to go defensive, and now he's immediately got the flip side Mustang directly behind him, trying to get his position number 7 away from him. He'll look to the outside at the hairpin of turn number 6. Can't get it done there, but he's going to try and get the exit done. He can't get it done though on the grip power, and is going to lose a little bit of time actually going into sector number 2. But let's see how he can go with gaining that back on through, because it's such a long main straight here. As I keep saying, it's 1.1 kilometers, which is insane length for a main straight. And we'll see if he can't get a bit of slipstream and try and put in another challenge into turn number 1. He's 0.3 of a second away. We've seen from a couple of the other drivers who are a little bit more comfortable on the brake pedal. That is definitely close enough for a move, and for Mason Kurtz it is well and truly close enough. He sends it down to the inside, and that is position number 7 sealed and delivered for himself, taken away from Mitchell. And that was a fantastic textbook dive down the inside at turn number 1. He was super late on the brakes and was still able to feed it gears and just get the thing stopped. And now he's got 14 seconds if he wants to catch to the back of Connor Mitchell, who's been doing quite the recovery drive after being off the road a numerous amount of times so far in this race, and nearly getting back to just whereabouts he was when he made the first error there in race number 1 so far. But he will still be absolutely pissed with himself that he's made the mistakes at the start with, because he was looking super racy in practice, and again in the qualifying session as well. Currently lines up in at number 6, and for the reverse top 12 in race number 2, that means he's going to be starting just about where he's going to finish this one at this point of time in the race. And another driver who's been putting in the lap times to try and get himself into a positive position here is Dion Clerk. He's managed to get his way up into position number 5 here of this race with only 2 laps left to go, and is now applying the pressure to the back of Andre Elliott in the Simblax Camaro. So this could come down to the final lap between these two, and we're not too far away from starting the final lap, as Zach O'Reilly, a race leader on his second last lap, is not too far away from heading into the turn 6 hairpin, as that's a big error there from Andre Elliott. He's actually off the road, so the pressure was too much from Dion Clerk. He gets himself now up to position number 4, and for Elliott now down into 5th position. So that came probably a bit easier than Dion Clerk was expecting. We don't get that grandstand final lap finish that I really thought was going to happen between the two of them. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but what is not unfortunate though, what is going to be unfortunate is for Mason Kurtz. He just got the position up from Hayden Cook, and now he's thrown it away. And whereabouts on the circuit he's managed to do this? It looks like it's in the final sector of the lap. So just before starting the downhill run, he's found the fence and loses that position. He's only just taken away from Hayden Cook, and unfortunately for himself is now down to position number 9 yet again for himself. So luckily he's only got the 1 lap to try and hold on to this thing. And for Zach O'Reilly, in a 30-lap race, he's got a humongous 21 seconds of a race lead. He is not just annihilated, he has creamed the field. He has done planet destruction level of winningness. I'm losing the words on how dominant of a drive it's been so far for Zach O'Reilly in the accelerated Camaro. And it's going to be one to watch, as now there's been a position change here for Mitchell. Hayden Cook's got himself now up into position number 7, so Mitchell's had a mare here in turn number 5, lost the position and now finds himself into 8th. But for Zach O'Reilly, he's only going to have a couple of corners left to go, and then he can find himself as your race winner here for race number 1. As he crosses the line, he's already got the celebrations coming along, and he'll take the cake here in race 1 for round 6 of Kidden Valley. And that was quite the race for himself as he skids it into the fence for victory. And for Dean Hanley, he got the second position through the pit stop cycle, and he'll be absolutely thrilled with the second position, because leading up into most rounds he keeps saying, I've done no practice. Well, it looks like he doesn't need any practice to get himself into second position, so that's going to be a welcome result for Dean Hanley. Lee Crowther, through the pit stop cycle, unfortunately lost the chance of trying to go for that second, and will cross the line in third, so it's still a podium for the Birdman, and we'll take that one ahead of Dion Clerk in the GR Supra for 4th. Andre Elliott will end up crossing the line in 5th, but he'll be filthy with himself for making that mistake to lose on that one from Dion Clerk. And then Connor Mitchell, he's had a very up and down race so far here tonight in race number 1. He'll cross the line in position number 6. Hayden Cook in 7th. Jonathan Mitchell in 8th, Mason Kurtz in 9th after that very late mistake of finding the fence just about here, actually. Heath Langley will round out your top 10 for race number 1. Sean North in position 11. Jacob Kelly will take the pole position for race number 2 with the top 12 reverse grid. Luke McCulloch in 13th, Bailey Doble in 14th, Dean Johnson 15th, Wesley Harriott in 16th position, and unfortunately we don't get to see Lachlan Grant, Bill Kosmarakis or Mika Hall reach the finish line in this one. So what a race it's been, and for Zach O'Reilly, here's your race 1 winner. So get those drinks refilled. I definitely need to get a drink after that one. That was a thrilling race, and we'll be back very shortly for race number 2.
And expertise in getting the best gear. Sensational TV has proudly partnered up with Speed Nation. It is New Zealand's go-to destination for high-performance sim gear. They also stock the best and biggest brands in the game, from Thrustmaster, Moser Racing, Next Level Racing, Sparko, Turtle Beach, and more. And whether you're looking for the ultra-responsive racing wheels or pro-grade flight controls, immersive audio, or rock-solid cockpits, I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has got it all. They also carry other trusted names like Butt Kicker, PT Actuators, Wheel Stand Pros, Gen Ace, Spectrum in the remote control field, and also Collective Mind. So every step and part of your setup is covered, from complete racing rigs and premium flight packs. We here at Sensational TV, back in Speed Nation, to deliver the gear that takes your experience to the next level. Fast shipping, trusted brands, unbeatable quality, and I'll tell you what, Speed Nation has it all. And as an excellent gift for all of our viewers tonight and members out there of Sensational TV, and if you're trying to get into racing, go to the checkout, buy some stuff off Speed Nation, because if you buy any full price product on the website, enter the code SIMSATIONAL, that is SIMSATIONAL. Oh my God, I can't even speak. And you will get a 10% discount off your end cart price. So go in there.
10%? 10% did you say, Zachary?
I did say 10%, mate. I did not say 5. I did not say 4. I said 10.
Wow.
Well, I hope everyone is refreshed and raring to go because we're not too far away from getting started here for race number 2. And we thought that some of the mover and shakers up and down the field was intense. Now, just think about the fact that it's a reverse top 12 for this one here. We're just waiting for one more driver to make it to the grid here for this one. Otherwise, we may have a bit of an empty grid slot for the start of this one, which I'm sure the likes of Connor Mitchell would not be too discouraged about, because that means he's going to have a clear open road right in front of him with that empty grid box. But starting off here, we're going to have Jacob Kelly to round off at the start of this one on the pole position in the Indigenous themed Red Bull Ampol Racing Camaro. So he's going to be looking to try and take advantage of starting at the front for this one off of the pole position, thanks to that reverse top 12 grid. And you'll have Sean North on the front row alongside of him, and thanks to Sean as well for everything that he does to get this server up and running and this series going as well as it does. And for Heath Langley, he's going to line up in 3rd position, and Mason Kurtz up into 4th position as well for himself. And then Hayden Cook is currently listed as a 5th position, but we do know that we're missing a driver at the moment from that 5th position. So he will get delegated down to position number 6 if that driver is to rock up on time here for race number 2. And then it's going to be Connor Mitchell behind him with Andre Elliott, and then Dion Clerk, Lee Crowther, Dean Hanley, and your race 1 winner of Zach O'Reilly in grid box number 12, with McCulloch in right behind him as well. Doble's next, and then it's going to be Dean Johnson, Wesley Harriott, Lachlan Grant. He's going to be hoping for a much better second race here for this one, and he'll be absolutely wanting to try and improve that one from where he started last time around. And Cosmarakis, we saw, never left the pit lane from race number 1, so he's lining up in position number 18, and then Hall in 18th, as now we're getting ready here for the start of race number 2. The lights are being illuminated and it's going to be off, and it looks like we've actually already had a Hall jump into the pit lane there. We saw the car just jump into the lane, but we're racing here for race number 2 here. Jacob Kelly's had a brilliant launch, so this time around it's actually the inside row of grids that's been able to get the better launch, unlike last time around. And in the background, look at this, they're going 3 wide. Lee Crowther's going all the way around the outside of a lot of them, and what a move from the Birdman. A fantastic overtaking opportunity. He's just gone from 11th position, 10th position, all the way to 6th on the opening lap. So he's gone for a very aggressive approach, knowing that the very fast Zach O'Reilly is not going to be too far behind. And there he is, currently in 10th position. So he's also made up a position or 2 here so far on the opening lap. And for Connor Mitchell, he's immediately on the pace, carving his way through the field, because he knows he's going to be one of those front runner drivers and that's going to be able to take advantage of starting towards the front when all of his more on pace what's the word I'm looking at as Andre Elliott's unfortunately just gone all the way off in the background. So it's not been a very good couple of races for himself. We saw right at the end he lost the position at the final corner for race number 1, and with that mistake there, and now finds himself off the road again. And for Lee Crowther, using a bit of slide draft action here to get himself by Mason Kurtz and up into position number 5. But we know Kurtz is very good on the brakes down at turn number 1. Does he go for the move and try and retake that position? No, he can't get it done, but he could lose the position if he's not careful to Dean Hanley, who's right there for the taking as well. And he's going to get a really good exit here, is Hanley. And look at him just drive on by as if Mason Kurtz was standing still. And so that was a very, very authoritative move, and Zach O'Reilly is going to follow on through. So the front runners are not taking any prisoners so far, trying to make their way through the reverse grid order at the moment. And for Connor Mitchell, he's continuing to carve his way through the field, knowing that there's going to be drivers coming up quicker behind him very shortly. So Mitchell's already up into 3rd position. He's reeling onto the back of Sean North in the North Star Transporting Mustang, and he's going to be wanting to try and make a very quick work of that one. And he momentarily had the purple middle sector, but he's lost that one. So some of those drivers in the background absolutely on the pace. And for Jacob Kelly, he's just trying to extend that race lead he currently has of 1.5 seconds. He currently sets the fastest lap time of the race, but expect that lap time of 1 minute 4.5 to come absolutely tumbling down as some of the other drivers start making their way through the field. And for Elliott, he's already making his way through the field up past Dean Johnson, and are now looking all over the back of Wesley Harriott, and right in front of him as well. You can see McCulloch's looking for the move here on Bailey Doble as well. Can't get the the move done. He wasn't quite late enough on the brakes to make that one stick, and we'll have to sit back and wait for it once again. And look at this for a battle. Dean Handley making his way through Lee Crowther. Zach O'Reilly goes into the side of Crowther as well, so it is all on between your top three here from race number 1. O'Reilly to the outside. He's going to try and get it moved done with the power and with the grip that he's got in that accelerated Camaro, and he's up now into position number 6 ahead of the Birdman, and we'll be looking to try and see if he can't get himself by Dean Handley. But Handley has also been making plenty of great overtakes so far in this race. Elliott has now already got himself by not only just Doble but also McCulloch as well, so he's got the red mist ascended. He is charging his way through the field. Up next on his list is going to be Bill Kozomarakis, and to try and get that position away from him up into position number 11. He's got 5 seconds to find if he wants to get that one done, and you can just have a look at the train that Kozomarakis is on the back of here, and so he's got Mason Kurtz leading the way with Dion Clark, Hayden Cook in front of him, and so he's going to be wanting to really try and get this one done, but he is going to have all hands on deck to keep this thing pointing straight, as well as making his way through all of these cars, and so it's going to be a wicked drive from himself to try and get this one done. And for Connor Mitchell, he just hasn't been able to get himself by Sean North here. He got all up to the back of him so quickly and just has not been able to find a way on through as of yet. And we know he's got the pace. He was rapid in practice. He was rapid in qualifying. He had the pace in race number 1. Unfortunately, a few mistakes robbed him of the possible position that he could have had here in his GR Supra, and for the moment in time he's going to have to keep looking at those Mustang tail lights in this race as he continues to apply the pressure to the back of Sean North. And further along the field here, Dean Handley is now all over the back of Heath Langley for position number 4. We know Handley is very good on the brakes, and he's showing that once again, also making slight contact there with Langley as they go through turn number 1. And is he just going to be able to get the power down on the exit once again? The answer is absolutely yes. He can get that one done. Zach O'Reilly is going to be wanting to try and get his way through this one as quickly as possible as well, and he looks to the inside of turn number 5 and gets that one done with ease. And now Lee Crowther is going to be watching these guys and thinking, dang, I really want to be up there. I want to be trying to stick with the top 3 from race number 1 as well. Lee Crowther finished 3rd in that one as well, so he knows that these guys in front of him are the ones he's trying to battle here. And for Connor Mitchell, he is now right to the back of Sean North, and he needs to get this move done immediately, because look how close Handley is already to the back of him, and so too Zach O'Reilly. He shows the nose at the final corner, can't get it done, and he's looped it at the final corner. He'll see the fence as well that separates the drag racing strip, and that has gone terribly for himself. The pressure was starting to get applied, and he just made a mistake there on the exit of the corner, and he throws it all away. He's now into position number 7, and that's a free kick for the likes of Dean Handley, who's now up into position number 3. Zach O'Reilly now up to the 4th, Heath Langley up to the 5th, and Lee Crowther up into 6th position. And so for your top 3 of race number 1, that has been a dream scenario to see one of the drivers that they're trying to overtake just magically get out of the way for themselves. And for McCulloch, he's now applying the pressure to Doble and is looking to the inside here at turn number 1, gets that one done. It does the GR Supra. Can Doble get him on the exit? And the answer is no, he cannot get it done. And that is a very demanding overtake there from McCulloch in the Dare Ice Coffee GR Supra. Gets the move done, but look at the pace from Doble. He's still trying to get it done around the outside. He can't get it done there. As now that's Hall there trying to get out of the way, as he's now rejoined the racing circuit, and he's just trying not to get in the way of any of the drivers already on the racetrack, because he's a few laps down now of this one. Started from the pit lane. Zach O'Reilly now is setting the timings are light. He's got the purple middle sector. Does he set the fastest lap of the race while he's at it? And the answer, not that time around. He was only a few hundredths of a second away from getting that one done. But the pressure is being applied now to the back of Sean North. North is having the pressure cooker turned up to the maximum temperature at the moment, because he's had some very quick operators are sitting right behind him, and so far none of them have been able to get on by. So starting from the front row of the grid has been crucial for himself to hold on to this second position at the moment, and all this defending at the moment from North is only allowing one thing to happen, and that's for Jacob Kelly just to continue driving away. He's now got a 2-second lead, and here comes Dion Clerk now to the inside of Bill Kozomarakis. This battle pack is really heating up, and they're continuing to go side by side. Now Sean North actually loses quite a few positions, and he's had an off. He's had an off here going into the final sector, and so as we were just talking so highly of him, of holding on to that second position from the front row of the grid, unfortunately he's thrown it all away. and now finds himself outside of the top 10, and now Andre Elliott's going to be wanting to try and take a position away for good measure as well, and get himself now up into 11th, and does so. So Sean North from 2nd to 12th in a matter of only a couple of corners here. It's not gone well for himself. What's going extremely well though is Zach O'Reilly from 12th on the grid is now up into 2nd on lap 8. What a race he is having so far, and just showing why he is the guy with the most pole positions so far this season. He's got 4 of them out of 5 races, so, well, 5 qualifying sessions that is, so he is definitely the qualifying master at the moment in the MSR Gen 3 Supercar Series, brought to you by ANMAX Services. So it is a masterclass showing from Zach O'Reilly. He's got 1.5 seconds though to find if he wants to be able to catch to the back and then overtake Jacob Kelly in the Red Bull Ampol racing car. So let's see how this one plays out. Give him a couple of laps and I'm sure he'll be right there. But look at the best lap time from Jacob Kelly. It's a 1:04.1. Can he improve it this time around? And the answer that we were just about to see is no, he can't. But Zach O'Reilly locks in a fastest lap of the race, a 1:03.4, some nearly 1 second faster than what Jacob Kelly was on that last lap. So the pace is insane at the moment. We're nearly towards qualifying spectrum at the moment. But look at Dean Hanley. He's really holding on here, as now Luke McCulloch unfortunately has lost a couple of positions here. So he's had a bit of a moment in the middle sector, lost a position to not only Johnson but Harriet as well. So he's going to be wanting to try and get those ones back, because he was battling not too long ago with Bailey Doble for position number 13, so he's going to be wanting to try and get that one back, and immediately looking to the inside now of Dean Johnson. He can't get it done though at turn number 1 to the Dare Ice Coffee GR Supra. Not good enough on the brakes and to try and get himself by that Camaro. We'll have to think of another way around that he can try and get this move done. And for Hayden Cook as well, he is really applying the pressure now to the back of Dion Clerk. So it's Camaro versus GR Super at the moment for 9th and 10th position. And it's only a couple of tenths of a second separating those two drivers. And the pressure is really now being mounted to Jacob Kelly, because look how close Zach O'Reilly, your race 1 winner and pole sitter, is right to the back of that Camaro, and you nearly actually getting into the back of him, as he's able to carry so much extra mid-corner speed is O'Reilly, and he is applying the pressure big time to the back here of Jacob Kelly. He's held the lead for quite some time. To the inside, he looks, can he get the move done? There's contact between the two of them, and Jacob Kelly goes off the circuit. Dean Handley goes on through. How is this one going to get looked at through the stewards? Because that was a move for the race lead. Zach O'Reilly has got the thing all out sideways on the exit there of the hairpin. Is he going to consider doing the readdress, or does he think he was far enough up the inside to say that he had that position? But all that has done is now let Dean Handley come all the way to the back of him and start applying the pressure. So it's Zach Accelerated Driver Training out in front at the moment in that white Camaro, followed very closely by the blue Camaro of Dean Hanley. And that is your battle at the moment for the race lead. They've both dispatched your pole sitter of Jacob Kelly, as now Lee Crowther's looking to try and continue on through. Oh, sorry. He's already coming into the pit lane. So this is an early pit stop. He's learning his lesson from race number 1, where he tried extending and he lost his second position out of it. This time around, he's pitting very early. How's the pit stop time coming for this one? We've seen a couple of longer ones. This one's a little bit on the longer side, but it's not too bad. And he will exit the pit lane, probably around about 12th position here. And there goes Sean North to take number 11 away, and Lee Crowther will rejoin in at position number 12. So not too bad for Lee Crowther. That gives him plenty of time now on these super soft tyres as well. A lot of the drivers opting to stay on these super softs for a very long time. And for Zach O'Reilly, just as I was saying, he was having the pressure applied to him. Well, look at the gap he's already been able to apply between himself and Dean Hanley, as Cosmarakis gets the position ahead of Mason Kurt. So he was at the back of that train that he is now leading. So he's been able to carve his way through the field quite nicely. Now up into position number 6, and for Harriet and McCulloch, they've both had an off here at turn number 1. So they've both fallen down the order just a little bit. McCulloch in 15th, Harriet in 16th position. So they've had it coming together at turn number 1 for them to both find themselves off the road. So a little bit more to that one. I'm sure that it's going to be very much discussed here, as Mason Kurtz is next to jump it into the pit lane. So I think a lot of guys here have kind of taken a little bit hints, learnt from race number 1 that maybe trying to go for an undercut isn't the way to go if you're going onto the soft compound tyre, but going onto the super soft is maybe the play. A lot of drivers in race 1 were on the super soft for so long over that race, and it was insane how long they were able to make that super soft tyre work, and it was just something to behold. And something to behold is that gap is already out to 2 seconds between himself and Hanley. So that is going to be something to really think of in YouTube land for those all watching this race at the moment, is how this strategy game is going to play out between a lot of these drivers. And for Connor Mitchell, unfortunately, the mistakes have just kind of filtered in throughout his race, and he hasn't been able to get the results so far he really probably would be wanting at the moment. He's up to 5th position, but that's also thanks to a couple of drivers in front of him pitting as well. So that 5th position at the moment isn't a true representation of where he is in this race for the moment, as he continues to try and fight his way on through the field and get himself back up to a position where we should expect to see him at the moment. Again, as I've said, the pace that he had in the practice session, the pace that he had in the qualifying, the pace that he was showing in race number 1 as well was just electric and not too far off what the leaders were doing. Unfortunately, there was just that incident, a couple of incidents where he had an issue. And speaking of issues, Dean Johnson backwards in the final sector on the run to the final corner. So unfortunately for Johnson, it's been also a race of where he's probably spent more time backwards than he has facing frontwards, and he now finds himself pulling out the white flag, and he's going to come into the lane for his compulsory pit stop here in his Showground Auto Services Camaro, and this will be his compulsory stop done nice and early as well, lap 14. So we're already nearly about half race distance in this one. So the laps are absolutely ticking by at a rate of knots, which is insane to think about, because on paper 30 laps around this place seems like quite the task, and it is quite the task. Even in the simulator, this place is very challenging on the drivers taking on this challenge, especially in cars as difficult to drive as these AK Racing Gen 3 supercars. So it is a very tall order for all of these drivers, and one of your front row sitters, Sean North, is also now into the pit lane for himself as Connor Mitchell continues to apply the pressure to the back of Heath Langley here. He looks to the outside at the hairpin of turn number 6. He can't quite get it done here, so he's going to have to think of a better spot where he can try and make this move stick here, and he's going to continue to apply the pressure to the back of that Mustang. And you can see him just trying to fill up the mirrors here, try and force a mistake onto Heath here, and can't get a bit of a free position, but he's nice and close, so he might be able to get the slipstream going down the main straight. He's actually not even going to need it because he's had such a good run out of the final corner that he's just going to side draft all the way down this 1.1 kilometer main straight here and get that position away from Langley. Does Langley have the confidence on the brakes to try and send it back down the inside at turn number 1? The answer is no. He can't get it done, so he's going to let Connor Mitchell just drive away with this one now. And so for Mitchell, that's up into position number 4, bar a couple of drivers in front of him already doing their pit stops, as now Dion Clerk throws it into the pit lane as well from position number 8 on the road for himself. So we're in that phase of the race now where the order is getting jumbled up as the drivers start to come in and out of the pit lane, and we're going to be seeing exactly what's going on. And for Mick Hall, unfortunately, it's another off-the-road excursion, but this time just to try and get out of the way, and I think he's just now trying to get some laps under his belt to learn the way of the cars. It's not been a race weekend for him to remember so far for himself, down in 17th position. And for Zach O'Reilly, he's just counting down the laps as well. At the moment, he's just in cruising mode, now nearly 4 seconds ahead of 2nd position of Dean Hanley, who's now probably thinking about how he can hold on to this, or maybe he's also thinking about how he could challenge for the race win if he's able to get a good pit sequence going here, because he had a very good pit sequence in race number 1, getting himself from 3rd to 2nd ahead of Lee Crowther. So we know he's there with the strategy department, and he could probably pull something out the hat if he wants to try and challenge for the race lead. At the moment, very comfortable in 2nd position as we're halfway through this race. Jacob Kelly, your pole sitter, is currently in 3rd position, so holding on to that podium at the moment. But there's a question mark. Does he appeal the overtake that was done there at turn number 5, where he lost the race lead, because there was definitely a bit of contact there. He defended, and then the overtaking driver still managed to find a way on through. So we'll have to see how that one plays out in the Shields room after this one's all done, as that's Harriet getting out the way there of Kelly as well. So Mitchell Johnson as well currently, Connor Mitchell in position number 4, pulls it into the lane for himself. So he's now going to start filtering out probably whereabouts where he was in relativeness to the rest of the field before they start coming into the lane as well. So for himself, he's in grid box number 1. So he's going to have a nice clean exit. And whereabouts does he come out? Because he's got Andre Elliott now heading down the main straight, so he'll lose that position. Lee Crowther's also coming down the main straight, and there he goes out of his pit box. So he's probably going to come out round about 5 seconds ahead of Mason Kurtz once he gets himself up to speed. So he's lost a little bit of time through that pit stop cycle, down into 9th position, but it could have been way worse for himself, is Connor Mitchell. So he'll be looking to try and hold on to that position as much as possible. Bailey Doble is now into the lane for his compulsory stop, pulling in right behind Lachlan Grant. Lachlan Grant's car, who's unfortunately not taking part in this one, so he's not going to be classified in race number 2. Very unfortunate for his championship standings in this one as well. So for Bailey Doble, you'll leave the pit lane, and you'll hold on to this 13th position ahead of Harriet, so that will be something to keep an eye on as well. Heath Langley now into the lane as well, so plenty of pit stops happening up and down the field as we are about the halfway mark of the race. But for Zach O'Reilly, still leading the way very comfortably now, nearly 6 seconds out in front. You can still see he's pushing a fair bit. He's still using all of the track plus a little bit more to get the lap time required out of this one. For Dean Handley, at the moment he doesn't really have anything to try and fight back with, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy with another second position at this race. He's got 12 seconds right behind him of just fresh air, so he's got no pressure from behind, so he is also going to be in just cruising mode at the moment around this Hidden Valley racing circuit. So the field's currently a little bit spread out as the pit cycle continues here in race number 2. And again, it's a compulsory pit stop, so every driver must come into the lane and they must use both these compounds of tyres as well. So everyone that's on the super softs will have to switch to the softs, and everyone who started on the soft compound tyre will have to go to the super soft as well. And for Heath Langley, he's made that pit stop and he's now trying to apply the pressure to the back of Connor Mitchell. So now that they've filtered out, they're battling it out for position number 7 and 8th, and it's actually Connor Mitchell who's the leader of anyone who's come into the pits there. So you can see on the totem pole, if they've got a 1 next to their racing number, that means that they've still got to make that compulsory pit stop. So a few of them, oh well, that's what it is. That's what it's usually meant to mean. But you can see that it hasn't disappeared yet for Bailey Doble. So ignore that one for the minute. But usually that's meant to update pretty quickly to say who's done their pit stop and not. But he still sits in position number 13, still on there. And for Mika Hall, unfortunately, he's now backwards at the first corner, nearly on the wrong side of the concrete barrier as well. And so he's not having a very fun time out there for the minute. So hopefully things go a bit better in the next round when we head to Townsville. So we will continue our leg here in the top end racing here as Lee Crowther applies the pressure to the back of Andre Elliott. So these two have spent plenty of time, plenty of hours racing against each other in numerous different categories, different leagues. And now they race against each other here in the MSR Gen 3 Supercar Series, racing in quite powerful machinery as well. Usually they're racing little pocket rockets, and now they're racing big V8s with plenty of power and a bit of weight behind them as well, and just a little bit of aero as well, which I'm sure they'll be liking as well. So these two will continue to apply the pressure, but Lee Crowther at the moment, from getting that podium in race number 1, will be filling with confidence at the moment and wanting to get that position away from Andre Elliott and get himself back inside the top 5 here. Is there possibly a move here at turn number 6? He really thought about it. He is thinking about it. He does go for it. He looked like he was going to be a little bit too far back, but he gets the move done here. Up into position number 5 for McCulloch. Unfortunately, he's had an issue here at the hairpin as well. He finds himself off the road in that Dare Ice Coffee GR Supra. So he's going to have to get those tyres cleaned off once again, and he's actually pulling it off to the side of the road here and just letting a few of the cars to clear on out before him making his way back onto the tarmac. As now Dean Handley pulls it into the pit lane, so he's the first one to blink out of your top 2, pulls it into the pit lane. So too has Cosmarakis, and he this time will leave the pit lane. Nope, he's reset back. I got a little bit too excited maybe, and I've jinxed him, and he's gone back to the pit lane. And so for Dean Handley though, he will leave the pit lane and into position number 6, may lose a couple of positions here to Langley and Kurtz, and will lose those positions as Kurtz now looks it to the inside. That was getting very tight between the two of them, and he does get that position away from Langley up into position number 6 now, but this is definitely not what handling needed in this one, because now he's got these two guys yet to make a pit stop right in front of him while he's now trying to nurse these brand new tyres that he's got for the remainder of this race with 9 laps left to go in this one. So there's plenty to think about for Dean Handley, and how early was that upshift to make sure he doesn't get too much wheel spin, but the thing on cold tyres still snapped out sideways on him, and so he's going to be wanting to try and really pull in the pressure now. And but Mason Kurtz driving away from these two at the moment. Handley losing a bunch of time at the moment because here comes Dion Clerk in his rearview mirror in his Supra, roaring up to the back of the Camaro. Do any of these guys get into the pit lane? No, they don't. So he's going to be using the slipstream effect here, and look how close he's able to get here to the back of Heath Langley. He's going to look to the outside of turn number 1, and there he goes on the brakes around the outside, and Bob's your uncle. That's position taken away. Now he can focus on a little bit of clean air now and try and catch to the back of Mason Kurtz, and hopefully not lose too much time here, because on the fresh tyres, he might be able to have a little bit of a pace advantage to reel in a little bit of that gap that he had to the race leader of Zach O'Reilly, who was yet to make a pit stop, as Dion Clerk in the background now takes the opportunity to try and take that position away from Langley as well. Around the outside of turn number 6, he's going to have to try and finish it in his Supra, and he gets the power down nicely, and there he goes up into position number 8 for Dion Clerk, with a handful of laps to go. So a lot of pit stops still to filter on through this time around, and it is going to be fascinating to see how this one plays out for Zach O'Reilly, because he's still yet to come into the lane, and we saw in race 1 he left it very late to get it done, and I would imagine on lap 23, about to become lap 24, he's going to play the same strategy game of pitting really late into the race and just trying to delay this compulsory pit stop as long as possible, and he's really very much in just cruising mode. You can see that on the throttle chase as well, how cautious he is onto the throttle to make sure he doesn't cause too much unnecessary tyre wear to the car, but he'll continue on for yet another lap around here. Now through the pit stop cycle, Hayden Cook now finds himself up into position number 2, but he is some 30 seconds away from Zach O'Reilly, with Lee Crowther on the podium at the moment, once again in 3rd position. But all eyes are currently on Dean Handley as the currently with a pit stop under his belt as well, trying to get himself further up the field as well. So let's see how the gaps continue to look between the two of them, because he's going to be trying to put in some good lap times at the moment. For now, though, the microsector is not showing it, as from 2nd position, Hayden Cook comes into the lane for his compulsory pit stop here, and he's going to park it in right behind Bill Kosmarakis, who unfortunately still has not left the pit lane. So something's going on there with his pit stops, which is resulting in him not being able to leave, as also in the background there you saw Andre Elliott's pulled into the pit lane as well. So there goes Dean Handley now. So Handley takes 5th position away from Hayden Cook, and look at that, Dion Clerk has not been dropped from Dean Handley as of yet. So Dion Clerk showing he's got plenty of pace at the moment in his GR Super as well, and looks really racy as well. Zach O'Reilly, your race leader, now puts his Camaro into the pit lane. Handley's going defensive here, and so we've got a race on between himself and Dion Clerk. There's a bit of bumping on the exit there of the corner, as Handley just can't get the power down and get the thing accelerating out of the corner, and so Dion Clerk here could absolutely look like that he could take this away, as now the pit window has closed for the drivers to try and get this pit stop done. They had to get it done before lap 25 to get this one done. So Zach O'Reilly pitted on the very last moment that he could do it. Connor Mitchell has also come into the pit lane on the final time of asking to relinquish his 6th position for the moment, and so he's going to fall down the order a little. He's currently sitting in position number 10 for this one. He'll continue to fall down the order with that pit stop getting done. You can see his car there still sitting in the pit lane. So we got a race on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately for Connor Mitchell, he's actually now classed as a DNF, so it's not gone well for himself there. It's been a race one littered with mistakes. We saw the mistake at the start of this one where he spun it at the final corner, and now he is classed as a DNF in this one, so it's terrible news for the Connor Mitchell fan base here, and he is not going to score any points out of this one. But look at the battle now brewing between these two, because You can tell the battling is really starting to apply the pressure to Handley as he locks it up into turn number 6. He had it all out sideways on the exit of turn number 5, so the pressure is 100% being applied here for himself, and he is also now outside of the podium positions with his pit cycle, so it's gone the opposite way for himself here because he's got Mason Kurtz in front of him, Lee Crowther in front of him as well, so he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to get himself up onto the podium here and make it back-to-back podiums. Lee Crowther is in second position now, Mason Kurtz in third, Dion Clerk is right there for the pick'ems as well, wanting to take this away, so the soft tyre move here for Dean Handley, maybe not the move to make here in race number 2, falling down the order after the pit cycle, and for Dion Clerk just wanting to try and find a way past this Camaro. The Camaro is such a wide car when it comes to trying to pass it, but just because every single driver that seems to drive it, it just seems to be a bit of a defensive masterclass. So he's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to get this one done, but we know the last couple of laps here, Handley has struggled to get the car out of this corner. This time around, it looks like he's been able to do it a little bit better, but he blocks into turn number 6, forcing Clerk to try and go the long way around, but he doesn't want to do that because that's adding so many more meters onto the racetrack, and it doesn't matter how much grip you've got, it just won't add up and won't equate for the difference in pace between the tyres and adding on those extra meters into the race. But he doesn't have very long left in this race at all if he wants to try and make this move work, and he's applying so much pressure to the back of Dean Handley, and this is what it looks like on board with a ton of opposite lock for good measure coming out the final corner, so that's not going to give him a very good run at all, and in fact it's now for the first time in a while out to over half a second between himself and Handley, so that was a horrendous final corner for Dion Clerk as he's trying to get himself up into 4th position, and it's just not going to work for him at the moment. He's going to have to find another way, but look at the snap from Dean Handley. So that's now swung it back the other way. That's now given the time back that he lost to Dion Clerk as he's all over the back of this Camaro. And look at that. He's missed the apex by a little bit. He's run a little bit wide. He's on the curbing there. They're trying to get the thing stopped. He's gone deep into the hairpin. He's parked it on the apex, and Clerk is just unable to get his way around here. That was a fantastic insight. They're riding on board with Dion Clerk and his Supra, and we just saw there that mistakes are starting to creep in from Dean Handley. He has got the pressure cooker absolutely applied to him at the moment. They're trying to hold on to position number 4 here on lap 28. There is not too long to go to hold on for himself. But then also on the flip side, does desperation start to click in for Dion Clerk to get himself up into position number 4, because he doesn't have very long at all to get himself into a position here to try and take it away from Dean Handley, as we're now, Zach O'Reilly's not too far away. He, in fact, seems to be, he's just about coming around the final corner. Yeah, he's going into the final complex of corners now, so he's into the final sector of the lap, and so for Zach O'Reilly, he's going to be crossing the line not too far away, not only to clean sweep the race weekend with the pole position, the race 1 win, but the round as well. So he'll be crossing the line here to start lap 29, so he's only going to have 2 laps to hold on here. And here we go. Here's the battle that we've been keeping an eye on for the last couple of laps, and it looks like this time around Dion Clerk has been able to hang it around the outside long enough, and he gets the squeeze on the apex there. Going into turn number 7, and Handley will hold on it just for now. What a battle we have got to finish out this race between these two very wise drivers. It's Supra versus Camaro, and it's going to be on for young and old between these two, and we are in for a grandstand finish between the two of them. And for Dion Clerk, he's going to be thinking once again, how am I going to get on by, because he's only going to have 2 laps now to really get this one done. And look at Handley, he's going for a really narrow racing line. They're really utilizing the double apex there, whereas Dion Clerk tries to go for more of a single line through there and goes for the one singular longer apex and hugs that inside curb, and it didn't work out for him that time around. You can see Handley was able to pull out a little bit of a gap there, but he's run wide going through turn number 5, and for Dion Clerk, he's got it all out sideways as he applies the pressure cooker, and look at how defensive Handley's going. He knows that that's a weak point at the moment of this circuit, and that's one of the key overtaking opportunities as well, so he has to eliminate that every time they go on through there. As now we are onto the final lap of the race for Zach O'Reilly, as he now starts to make his way on 3 into the hairpin, so he is looking to take this one away as well. And for these two though, we don't know who's going to finish ahead of who. It's been a defensive masterclass so far from Dean Handley. He is though opening up the door every now and again for Dion Clerk to come on by. Clerk, though, nice and close to the back. He's going to have the slipstream, but it's not going to be close enough. He shows the nose to try and push Handley into a mistake, but it's going to be Clerk that makes the mistake. Clerk has gone off, and there goes the pressure cooker swung the other way, and Dion Clerk has gone off at the end of turn number 1, and that means Handley can hold on to this one, but for Zach O'Reilly, he's only got a couple of corners left to go, and then he can claim the round win as he takes the pole position, the race 1 win, and he's going to take race number 2 as well. This time, it's not going to be such a huge winning margin, but it's still going to be 8 humongous seconds that he's going to claim this one by, and he's going to claim that one up and lick it all up. And that was a brilliant race for himself, and for Lee Crowther, it's a bit of a redemption day because he's going to go from 3rd in race 1 to 2nd in this one. So he got the pitch strategy absolutely dead on that time round, and gets that 2nd position. For Mason Kurtz, though, he's going to get himself into 3rd position for the Flipside Mustang. What a drive for himself. He's going to be thrilled with that result. For Dean Handley, thanks to the mistake from Dion Clerk, he's going to hold on to position number 4, Clerk into position number 5, Hayden Cook into position number 6, and for Heath Langley, he will also cross the line to position number 10. Jacob Kelly into number 8. So brilliant drive for him to hold on to 8th at least. Andre Elliott into 9th. Sean North was holding on to that 2nd position for such a long time from the likes of Zach O'Reilly until he made that mistake in the final complex of corners, and he will end up crossing the line in position number 10. Bailey Dover will take a position number 11. Dean Johnson in 12th position. Luke McCulloch in the end 13th as well for himself. And Wesley Harriott, the last of the finishers, will be in 14th position for himself. So what a race we've had. And for Zach O'Reilly, it's back-to-back race wins here. And that is race win number 4 so far this season as well. So he's on fine form at the moment in this one, and he is your race winner, and he will also be taking the driver of the day here for round number 6 for Zach O'Reilly, as he does the celebratory donuts in the pit lane. So hopefully he's welcome back next time around, unlike the World Time Attack crew. So let's see how that one goes next time around. And it's going to be interesting to see how this season shapes up, because he came into this not too far outside of the top 10 in the standings, and I'm sure this is going to help him a lot. And unfortunately, your championship leader, Jason McFadden, was not in the round this time, and so he will definitely lose his championship lead to Dean Handley and Lee Crowther, who are only separated by 25 points between the 3 of them. So that has been a huge between for the championship here. So let's see how it all goes on. We're just waiting on a word here to see if we're going to get ourselves a bit of a podium chat going on for the racing coming up here. So stay with us for a couple of minutes, because we may have a couple of people to chat to in the podium, and so let's see if we can't get anyone into the commentary box to have a bit of a chat. We've put in the request for the drivers to jump on in if possible. So let's give it a couple of minutes, see if anyone wants to jump on in for a bit of a chat. Hopefully we can get the top 3 of Zach O'Reilly, Lee Crowther, and Mason Kurtz to jump on in, but let's just hang out with us for a second, ladies and gentlemen. But what a race we've had so far here tonight. It has been a fantastic couple of races here at Hidden Valley Raceway for this round, and I'm sure there is nothing better than that, getting the podium, the pole position, as well as 2 race wins. And the season so far, he's been on fine form. He got the pole in race round number 1, and I think I do have a couple of drivers here to have a chat to. So let's head on over to the podium and get these interviews underway. Gentlemen, that was quite the round of racing, starting with you, Zach. The pole and 2 race wins. How was that for you? It looked like you had the thing on rails for this round.
Lasted the whole race and be within the same tyre delta as what the soft lap times were when they were fresh versus a dead super. So learnt from that in race 1. and then put that into race 2, Pete. So just went another 5 laps just before the pit window closed at lap 25. So stretched them out, but some good racing up and down the field tonight. It was fun to come back through in that reverse grid for race 2.
Yeah, it was definitely one to watch. A lot of big ballsy moves getting made between your top 3 that was in race number 1. And then we saw Sean North there putting on the defensive masterclass there in the first bit of the lap. Unfortunately, made a bit of a mistake there and threw it all away. But for Lee Crowther, though, what happened there in race number 1? Because you're holding on to position number 2 quite well and then lost it, which seems to be through the pit cycle.
Yeah, I probably left it a lap too long and just threw it away at the back end of the track about when I probably should have pitted a lap before. But yeah, lost a lot of time there, which probably cost me the fighting for second with Dino there. But yeah, pretty happy to get podiums both races.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive for everyone. And Mason Kurtz, that was a bit of a drive for yourself to get yourself up into 3rd position there in race number 2. How did you find the racing there tonight?
Oh, he's got push to talk on, I reckon.
Do I have push to talk on?
There you go.
Okay. Oh, man, I'm absolutely knackered, and I literally cannot believe I'm up here tonight. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was a very solid drive for yourself. We saw plenty of overtakes from yourself. It looked like you were very confident on the brakes going into turn 1. How did you find the car? Because plenty of mistakes were being made into turn 1 with the trickiness of the braking, especially coming in at about 270 k's an hour.
Yeah, no, turn 1 was tricky, but I was just confident that I could get the move up the inside, which I did. I think I passed around 4 cars, so yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, it was thrilling stuff. And for Zach, where did that lap time in qualifying come from? Because it looked like for a second there you just couldn't beat that 1 minute 3 flat, and then all of a sudden you threw in a 2.8. So where'd that one come from?
I was basically doing qualifying with 50 litres of fuel. So because it's a long qualifying session, I was actually just practicing for the race coming up to see how the tyres were going, and somehow pulled out a 103.2 or 1 or something like that. And then I saw it get a bit closer there with the Birdman. He was only a 10th off me. So did one more lap, got another half a 10th, and then just put it back to the pits and finally did a low fuel run. That was the first time I've ever actually done a low fuel run. I put about 5 laps in, and by the end of the 4th lap, that was where that time came from. So a little bit less extra fuel, but even if I reckon I probably could have done it on lap 2 or 3 if I didn't put that extra bit of fuel in. So maybe some more pace, but we'll never know, mate.
Yeah, it was great racing up and down the field. Well done to the lot of you. We're going to call it there for the night because it has been a massive day of racing here for the MSR Gen 3 Supercars Championship, brought to you by NMAX Services. So thank you everyone for joining us here tonight, and thank you to the sponsors as well for Speed Nation. Speed Nation, A&D Importing as well, Simulator Driver Training, Bilco Pack and Accelerator Driver Training for all the support here tonight. And it is going to be on for this championship as well. So make sure to stay around for the remainder of the season. We're heading to Townsville next for another race in the top end of the country for round number 7. It's going to be thrilling racing up there, and the first time we go to a street circuit as well for a good measure. So that's going to be fantastic racing. And as always, until next time, keep it flat out.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.